This is Torrey Jones, the founder of Blazers Uprise. So before anyone comments saying I'm a biased Heat fan or Miami's assets are trash or who the hell is Nikola Jovic, just know that this is his trade from his Twitter and he says it's perfect and I just so happen to agree. So let's get right into it. Starting with the Blazers, in this 4-team deal, they will be acquiring DeAndre Ayton, Kyle Lowry's expiring contract, Nikola Jovic, a first-round pick from Indiana, and then 2 first-round picks from the Miami Heat. I just want to note right now that Miami is not getting any first-round picks in this video. The Trailblazers are not getting 5 first-round picks. The ones you see with those little red bubbles is a distinction basically saying that it's a pick swap. So in this trade, it's Ayton, Lowry, Jovic, 3 first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps, which will be with the Miami Heat. The one thing that I've been hearing from Blazer fans for months now, actually 87 days to be exact, that's what we're on of Dame Watch, but who's counting? But I always hear, why would we want Tyler Herro? We got too many guards with Scoot and Shaden and Anthony. We don't want him. Well, in this trade, you finally get your big man that you desperately have been looking for in DeAndre Ayton, who fits your timeline much better than Jusuf Nurkic, who they would be sending out in this deal. But this trade allows the Trailblazers to field a starting lineup of Scoot Henderson, who's 19, Anthony Simons, who's 24, Shaden Sharp, who's 20, Jeremy Grant, who's 29, and DeAndre Ayton, who is only 25 years old. Now, obviously, this lineup isn't some world beater or soon-to-be championship contender, but I do think that they will have a lot of young pieces that can develop into something pretty nice. DeAndre Ayton was just the first overall pick a couple years ago. Hasn't really worked out in Phoenix. He's been labeled as soft, I guess, because he is. But I do think that maybe he just needs a change of scenery. And obviously that Phoenix team is built to win right now. And I just don't think he's ready quite yet. But he's certainly talented enough to be maybe one of the best bigs in the league, maybe 3 or 4 years from now. And I get it's a bit of an awkward fit with Anthony Simons at the 2, but that's why there's been a lot of trade talk surrounding him as well. So it's possible that they could even trade him to some other team, maybe now, or maybe at the trade deadline to help get a better starting small forward than Shaden Sharp, because he's not a small forward. He's also a shooting guard. So it's possible they could send off Simons, move Sharp to the 2. And hey, they even got Chris Murray, who maybe he's not ready to start day 1, but maybe sometime in the middle of the season, he'll be ready to start. And if not, the Trailblazers can look elsewhere for a starting small forward. And as far as Kyle Lowry, I honestly think it would be an asset to them at this point because they are losing Jusuf Nurkic and his monster salary contract, which losing his contract is a plus. I've been trying to explain that to Blazer fans for a long time now. A lot of them like him, and rightfully so. He's a solid big man and probably the only one that they have, but that is a lot of money tied up into a guy who can't really stay healthy, so they're going to be able to shed his salary and receive Kyle Lowry's salary, who will be expiring at the end of this year. And on top of that, I think he'll be a great mentor to Scoot Henderson. I mean, who better to mentor the young guy than one of the highest IQ players in the league, an NBA champion, a guy that's been doing it for a long time. That's exactly what Kyle Lowry is. And of course, on an older team like Miami, that skill set doesn't necessarily apply. But to a team like Portland, who has a lot of young guards, I do think 1 year under the leadership of Kyle Lowry can help their young guards a lot. And then they're also getting Nikola Jovic. A lot of Portland fans may not care, but I promise you, ask any Heat fan how they feel about Nikola Jovic, and they are desperately trying to keep him. And that was before he balled out. And in the entire FIBA tournament, he helped lead Serbia to the championship game before they eventually lost to Germany. But it was really him and Bogdan Bogdanovic. They really led the way. He even had a game where he had like 25 points on 9 for 9 shooting. So he showed that he stands out when playing against non-NBA talent. And I do think that this season he'll be able to compete right away. Also because he put on 30 pounds in the offseason. He was coming in at like 217 or something last year, and he's all the way up into the 240s. And you can see a tangible difference on his body. So he looks like he's NBA ready. He knows how to use his size to attack the basket. Need I mention that he's a 6'11 big who can also stretch the floor. He's the type of guy in this NBA that looks like he will be the future of what this league is. And I think getting a guy like that in your system at only 20 years old is a real plus for the Portland Trailblazers. And on top of that, they are getting 3 first-round picks, where if they were to deal with Miami and only Miami, they could only offer 2 first-round picks. So I do think, all things considered, given the mess of leverage of, does Portland have leverage? Does Dame have leverage? Does Miami have leverage? Nobody really knows. We can debate that all day going back and forth. So I don't want to hear the Blazer fans comment saying Portland has all the leverage because Dame's under contract for 4 more years. That's not quite how it works. We've seen stars get messy, and if Dame feels that he's been disrespected enough, maybe he does make it even more messy than he already has. And that would, as I get a notification that has nothing to do with Dame to Miami. So I don't care, because every time I look, well, one day I'm going to look at my phone within the next week and it's going to say Damian Lillard traded. One way or another, whether he ends up in Miami or not, I don't care. I just want to move on. Point is, I do think in this package, Portland receives a pretty nice deal for Damian Lillard. Moving on to the Miami Heat side of things, of course, we do land Damian Lillard. We will also be getting Buddy Hield, who's an impending free agent at the end of this year, and that's a great fit on this team also, because we'd be losing the shooting of Tyler Herro and bringing in a guy like Buddy Hield, who has certainly lit it up over the last few seasons. Now, he does get paid a lot of money, so that's kind of the reason I didn't want him a few years ago when his name's been shopped around, because Indiana's been trying to get rid of him forever. And Miami already has Duncan Robinson, who I think is wildly overpaid. But the good news is Buddy Hield would be a free agent. I think he could slide right in that starting spot, and that'd give the Heat a potential starting lineup of Dame, Buddy Hield, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Love, and Bam Adebayo. An amazing starting lineup. In my eyes, I think that'd be championship contenders. I know a lot of people watching this are going to say, oh, how is Miami getting Dame and Hield? That's two good players. Well, I'm going to go through why I think it's a win for the rest of these teams here. But I do really like Buddy Hield, and I think he'd serve a great spot on this team. He's a phenomenal movement shooter. That's going to work great, just like it did with Duncan and Bam when Duncan was still able to shoot. And now adding Damian Lillard, who is a very underrated passer. The fit is seamless. And obviously, at that starting four spot, I've heard talks of maybe the Heat starting Duncan Robinson too. Can you imagine the shooting in that lineup between Duncan, Hield, and Dame? Oh my God, that is the thing of beauty. Not to mention the offensive schemes that Spo runs to get everyone open. It's something that should be really, really exciting if you're a Heat fan, and I think this is a win for us. However, we would be losing Caleb Martin to the Phoenix Suns, who also get Jusuf Nurkic and TJ McConnell. So they finally get to move on from Ayton. Obviously, Suns fans aren't very happy with him because, like I said earlier, he's a tad soft. And they do get Jusuf Nurkic, who is, I'm not going to say he's the best defender. In fact, he's probably quite terrible, which does hurt their roster considering you got Dame, Booker, and KD, who are more offensive-minded players. So starting Nurkic next to them with let's say, Caleb Martin may not be the best defensive lineup. But good news is, that's exactly what Caleb Martin does. So I think he would play a critical role on that Suns team as their main perimeter defender, point of attack guy, with TJ McConnell, who is a terror on the defensive end. So they do lose Ayton, who they don't like. They get a center who's actually good, ready to win now in Jusuf Nurkic. And they get Caleb Martin and TJ McConnell, a couple of really, really great on-ball defenders, which is exactly what the Phoenix Suns need, in my opinion. And on top of that, Caleb Martin is on a great contract. And when you have as many max salaries as the Suns do, you really need those great value guys to fill in the rest of the roster. And there's not a better value contract in the league than Caleb Martin. I mean, you're talking about a guy that makes, what, $7 million a year, who should have won Eastern Conference Finals MVP. In my opinion, he may have the best value contract in the NBA. Now he'll have a player option after this year. He will opt out and ask for more money, which the Suns will not be able to afford. But they will get 1 year of Caleb Martin, which I think really helps their chances because they want to go all in this season. Moving on to the Indiana Pacers, Tyler Herro finally has a home, and it's in Indiana. A great fit for him. 23 years old, just like Tyrese Halliburton, so he fits the timeline perfect. Indiana also gets Ish Wainwright, who I don't think will play much. He's only going to be his third year in the league, but he'll be turning 29 years old, so he doesn't necessarily fit their timeline, but he's more so just a salary filler in this case. So Indiana, they are finally getting rid of Buddy Hield, and I know, like I said earlier, he's an unrestricted free agent, so you might be saying, why don't they just keep him for this year? Well, they'd be losing him for nothing. So at least in this case, you do get to get Tyler Herro, who's under a 4-year contract, fits their timeline perfectly, and I think will really, really help bolster that offense with Tyrese Halliburton at the point. I mean, they could fill the starting lineup of Halliburton, Tyler Herro, Bruce Brown, maybe Aaron Nesmith. He actually started a lot at the 4 last year. I know that's pretty weak, but they got some other guys that maybe they can mix around. Maybe they want to start Benedict Mathurin, who's 6'6". I'm kind of iffy on who their starting 4 is. I do believe Bruce Brown will start because they paid him a ton of money. But anyways, I think the lineup will be Tyrese, Tyler, Bruce Brown, Nesmith, and Miles Turner. Very, very solid lineup. Obviously, a very young lineup. I think that the timeline fits well surrounding all of those guys. But more specifically, I do love the connection between Tyler and Tyrese. I just think that will be beautiful on the offensive end. I mean, Tyler Herro has gotten so disrespected. Like they act like his value around the league is worthless. But bottom line, he is a 3-level scorer to the highest degree. And there's not many of those in the league at this point. Everybody's either right at the rim or 3-point line. Tyler Herro is phenomenal in the mid-range, whether it's with pull-up jumpers, whether it's coming around a little screen, doing a little baseline floater. He's good at all of that, and because he can quite literally score from everywhere, I really think he'll help out that Indiana offense a ton. So I like this trade. Feel free to let me know what you think down in the comments below, as I'm sure many of you already are, even though I feel like I was able to give a good explanation for everything. But if you disagree, that's fine. I love having discussions in the comments. I try to reply to everybody that I can, so let me know down below. Of course, just yesterday, I posted a whole video about the whole Toronto Raptors being front runners to sign Damian Lillard. A lot of people were interested in that, so go check that out. I'm quite mad though, because like 100 times in the video, I mixed up the Trailblazers and the Raptors when I was talking. So, I had people comment that too. So basically, I just wanted to apologize, because Raptors fans are very passionate. I'll leave it at that. I forgot to mention that it was probably over a year ago now, I made a whole video reacting to Toronto Raptors fans' hate comments. That was pretty funny, so y'all could check that out too if you want to. And it was going on during the whole Goran Dragic thing, where Dragic respect their city, and I'm over here praising Dragic because of course that's my boy. But go check that out if you want. Bottom line is, training camp 1 week away. I think media day is the day before that. So we are going to keep hearing a ton of news soon. So subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll be talking about everything over here, and I greatly appreciate the support. And if you enjoyed the video and want other people to see it, make sure to leave a like. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace out. This one goes out to Joe Cronin. He is an ugly, bald-headed hoe who don't know shit, won't pick up the phone, so I'll tell you how it's going. First off, get your head out your ass, and if you think you keeping Dame, ha ha ha, I'ma laugh. It was a couple years back, he said he's loyal for life, but you're a liar, he's tired, and in his back is your knife. You think you winning and swindling with the Heat. You got for fetish, you always end in defeat. If you Lord of the Flies, then Pat is Lord of the Fleas, but you still think you Woody with Andy down at your feet. You haven't heard, Andy Ellisberg will not be deferred. You like Ferb, haven't said a word, phone on don't disturb. You absurd, Portland kicks you to the curb. It's deserved for finishing third when the 3-team trade for Dame confirmed. Pat take his nuts, dragging balls on your face. Kamehameha, kids is here to stay. You give us Dame, but we also keeping Jovic. And if Pat wanted to, he also would take yo bitch. Slip back his hair, that's something you cannot do. And then pipe your girl in his Armani suit. The next day she'll beg for Pat back and he will not show up. He went balls deep then left, just like he Tungo Vailoa. Cronin, I'm candid, I'll tell you, I can see your future is grim like in Billy and Mandy. If you do Dame dirty like Dirty Dan Sandy, who's sleeping like Pat, now I'll pass it to Andy. I got a problem with you, here's the matter, dude. I'm kinda mad at you, I'm mad at you because your attitude is getting rather rude. Show gratitude to Dame cause you never made it seems better. His 2 longest tenured teammates are Harkless and Myers Leonard, who are bums. Yes, Heat fans know that they both suck. Tell me, Joe Cronin, what is it you want? You said now is winning time, but you want all the picks. I wish you'd make up your mind instead of making me sick. Where the hell you at, Joe? Where you at? Where the hell you at, Joe? Where you at? Where the hell you at, Joe? Where you at?
What you gonna do, Joe?
Where the hell you at, Joe? Where you at? Where the hell you at, Joe? Where the hell you at? Where the hell you at, Joe? Where the hell you at? Where the hell you at, Joe? Where the hell you at? Where you at, Joe? Where the fuck are you at, man?
This song sucks. I mean, this guy gotta get a life, bro. I mean, what is he even doing with himself?